Good morning. Just got back from the nursing home. I was singing that song, "The Son hath made me free." And I let him make me free again this morning. You know, sometimes you feel like you're dwelling under a little shadow of condemnation. But I let the blood avail for me. I'm free from condemnation, for the Son hath made me free. The Lord wants to always keep us free under his blood. He'll help us with it. And he did me this morning. So Matthew 18, verse 1. At the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, Who is greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Well, they had to be meaning everybody else besides the king. He's the greatest. So they asked the question, and Jesus called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. What a surprising thing to say. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Humble as a little child. You know, I've worked with the little children in my Sunday school class, and sometimes they're not very humble. Maybe I just have 3 that aren't. But this little child, he's sitting there, he was trying to show them that a little child that is humble, is willing to do anything you tell them to do, or not feeling like they know better than everybody else. That's what it takes to be a part of the kingdom of heaven, enter into the kingdom of heaven, and to be great in the kingdom of heaven. Somebody that Jesus can show what he wants them to do, and guide them, and guide their hearts, guide their thoughts, give them help, and then we receive the help like a little child. And then he said, But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. You know, people, they think they know best. You know, we have atheists that feel like they need to make the world atheistic. Atheists are people that don't believe there is a God. Some examples were Voltaire and Thomas Paine. There's other, that's back in the past, but both of these men are dead. And I read where when it came time for them to die, they didn't believe like they did all the time they were living. They weren't atheists anymore. They realized that they needed God and that they had done wrong. That they were doing things to cause people to not believe in Jesus. Look, he said, But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. To come to judgment and know that you've turned people aside from believing in Jesus, that you have offended them, you've knocked them off their feet and caused them not to believe anymore. Wouldn't that be horrible? He said, it'd be better for you if you had a millstone, and a millstone is heavy, so heavy, and the reason it's heavy is so it will grind those grains down as it turns on top of the other millstone. Grind them down. He said, it'd be better for you to have that heavy stone hang around your neck, and that somebody threw you in the depth of the sea. You'd be better off than that you should offend one of these little ones which believe in me. Then Jesus said, Woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come, but woe to that man by whom the offense cometh. Jesus wants us to live in such a way that people are drawn to him. People want him. People want to believe in him. He wants us to live in the world and try to live not offending people, but helping people to believe in him. So he said, wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into hellfire. There's things that you can do with your hands that will cause you to lose out with God. That's your hand offending you. There are things that you can do with your eyes that will cause you to lose out with God. Cause you to not be wanting to live for him like you need to. It said it's better for you to cut that hand off. It's better for you to pluck that eye out. There's things you can do with your hands or with your eyes that will offend you as far as serving God. It's better to cut them off, better to pluck it out. But this is the thing that he wanted you to understand. Don't let that happen. Go to Jesus. Ask him, help me, heal me from doing things with my hands that are causing me to sin. Heal me from doing things with my eyes that are causing me to sin. Offend means to sin against. It's not just hurting somebody's feelings. It's not just doing something that maybe makes people feel bad. It can be that. But it's something that you do which is a sin against somebody. If you sin against a little believer, someone that believes in the Lord, and you sin against them, you're offending them. If you sin against your own self, if you let your hand sin against your own self, let's just say you took something that didn't belong to you. That's sinning against your own self. And it's better to cut that hand off that did that than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. It's better to pluck your eye out. If you're watching something that you shouldn't be watching, if you're seeing things you shouldn't be seeing, I mean, I don't know how much there was to see back then, but I'm telling you, there's a lot to see now that you shouldn't be watching. If you're watching pornography, or you're even watching something that's teaching you to steal, or teaching you murder, teaching you things, the violent things you can watch on television. If your eye offends you, it's better for you to pluck it out so you can enter into life rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into hellfire. So realize that Jesus was trying to get you to understand that there are things in this world. He said their offenses shall come. Woe unto the world because of offenses. For it must be that offenses come. But woe to that man by whom the offense cometh. If you're somebody that you want to warn people about serving Jesus, you need to quit doing it. Because Jesus has little ones, and if you offend them, you are going to be better off if somebody put a millstone around your neck and cast you into the depth of the sea than to do anything like that. He's warning people about that. And he said, take heed that you despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you, that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost. Jesus draws people to him and converts them, changes them from heady and high-minded and I can do anything and I'm the king of my castle and all that kind of feeling, to I'm a little child and I need to be led. I need to be taught. And Jesus said, take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. When Jesus begins to draw them in, he begins to help them. It's time to begin to love them and do what you can in love to help them, not to despise them, because they're angels. The Bible says that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. When God told Gabriel to go and talk to Mary or Joseph, all of the things that Gabriel did, off he went and did it. And he could tell the angels of those little ones, go help them. Go help them. You don't want to get in trouble with no angel, do you? With a little one's angel. I'll tell you something. The worst feeling I ever get is if I've tried to help a young person or somebody that's just gotten saved, and for them to get their feelings hurt over me. It's horrible. And it's hard for me not to try to instruct them in righteousness, but sometimes they can't bear it. They can't take it. And then I don't know what to do, because I just feel horrible and I'm afraid that I might offend them. But I don't despise them. I just try to help them. So that's the way it is. That's the way it is. There aren't very many people that want to endure sound doctrine these days. They'd rather go along with everybody in the worldly way and be happy in Jesus in the worldly way. So that's where I stand about offending. I try not to offend. I try definitely not to offend one of his little ones. But the Lord helps us to understand how to help somebody. Jesus himself told his disciples he had many things he wanted to tell them, but he said, but you cannot bear them now. And sometimes little ones cannot bear learning that they've got to come out of the world and be separate. They can't bear it. They don't want to do it, and they can't bear it. So, Lord, keep me from sinning against any little one at all. But help me to still stand up for right and do it the way you want me to do it. So he said, how think ye, if a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, doth he not leave the 99 and goeth into the mountains and seeketh that which is gone astray? And if so be that he find it, verily I say unto you, he rejoiceth more of that sheep than of the 99 which went not astray. So the Lord is very mindful of you if you have gone astray from him. Do you know that? Do you know he loves you if you're one of those little ones that he's just saved? He loves you and he wants to help you. Wants to keep you in the fold. But if one sheep leaves the fold, he's going to go after that sheep. The 99 are right there where they can be in the fold and stay safe while he goes after that one sheep. And when he finds it, he rejoiceth more of that sheep than of the 99 which went not astray. Us 99, we've just got to put up with it. We want him to rejoice over us. We always want him to rejoice over us, but we've had our turn. When he first found us and he brought us in, we've had our time of being one of those little ones that he rejoiced over. But he's rejoicing over that one little sheep that he went and found him that was astray. Even so it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. He doesn't want anybody to perish. And these little ones are the ones that he's drawing back, drawing to him, that maybe never have been saved, never knew about the Lord, never knew how to serve the Lord. He's drawing them to him. And Lord, help us 99 to be a blessing to them. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. So now he's beginning to talk about people and their relationships in the church. Brother, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. You've done something that hurt me, and I'm telling you about it, and I don't know why you did it. I just want you to understand that I have really hard feelings over this, so I wanted to tell you by yourself. And if he says, oh, I didn't know, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, then everything's fine, right? But if he says, what you talking about? You know, and won't listen to you. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. So take some people with you and say, did you do this to me? I'm bringing somebody else to see you, and I'm asking you, did you do this to me? Was it something that I deserved that you did? How come you did this to me? And if he should neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. And if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. This brother of ours in this church, he did this to me. You know, you can think of something that could possibly happen. He's my neighbor, and he threw his trash over in my yard, and every day he wants to, he throws his trash over in my yard, and I try to deal with him about it. I took others to deal with him about it. Now I'm telling you, the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, he says, I can do whatever I want to do. You know, if he feels that way, that he can do you wrong every day of the week and it doesn't matter to him, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. Let him be somebody that you don't call a brother. Treat him like that. But then even Jesus said before that, love your enemies. So if he's a heathen man and a publican, you're still going to treat him good, aren't you? Verily, verily, I say unto you, I'm going to start that tomorrow, because it's going to talk again about binding on earth and loosing on earth. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to stop right there. This whole chapter is about being offended, offending, doing things you shouldn't do. It's a hard one, but it's also something we need. So I'm going to go, and I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.